Hello, and welcome to Farmers Market Vendor Success Kit, Make More Money at the Market. I'm Laura Pugh, and together with my business partner Nancy Arvizu, we are passionate about helping farmers market vendors like you make more money at the market. And it all starts with a jump on the road to success. In this first module of Make More Money at the Market, we'll give you the foundation that you need to make more money at the market by helping you define your goals, map out strategies towards those goals, and finally navigate and avoid possible bumps in the road. In the end, you'll walk away with a shorthand business plan that will help you begin to make more money at the market. So we do this module in workshop mode because we know that there's only so much time in the day, and we really want you to walk away with the tools that you need to make more money at the market. So download our business plan template and be ready to fill it in. You'll also want some paper and pencil for notes, and you'll want an open heart and mind and the willingness to learn. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to connect and get in tune. Now this might sound a little woo-woo, and we do these woo-woo things, but they have value. So just hang in with us for a little bit and do this exercise with us. In the next section, we're going to talk about what's the vibe as it relates to you, the market, and your ideal customer. Because in this module, what we want to do is connect who you are with what you do, what you offer, and your ideal customer at the market. In marketing, we call it marketing alignment. So, who are you? Grab that pen and paper. This is not going to go into your business plan, but let's just talk about you for a minute. Jot down these notes, and if you have to stop the presentation for a moment, feel free to pause it. Write down your age, your gender, your income. You can write down a range. It doesn't have to be your exact income, but just a range is fine. What's your personality like? Are you more logical? Are you more emotional? Are you more creative? Are you artistic? Are you, what do you like? What are some attributes to your personality? Just jot down a few. Are you friendly, outgoing? Are you introverted? Just write down a few things that come to mind. Don't overthink it. What kind of car do you drive? Write that down, and also write down what kind of car would you like to drive? What about your lifestyle? What's one or two things we can say about that? Just really, overall, like, are you a stay-at-home mom? Are you a retiree? Do you work full-time? Are you an empty nester? Just write down a couple of things about that. What kind of clothing brands well, two things about this. What kind of clothing brands do you wear? And what kind of clothing brands, like a car, do you want to wear? Sometimes there's a disparity there, but let's talk about both of those. So jot down both and make note. For example, I wear a lot of Lulu clothes, and I wear a lot of I wear like Levi's, and I wear a lot of J. Crew. But if you ask me what would I like to wear, I'd love to wear Free People and Anthropologie clothes, but I don't wear them because they just don't look good on me. So, sometimes there's two things going on there. There's the brands you wear and the brands you'd like to wear, and they each reveal something. Color, what's your favorite color? Mine is a light blue. Groceries, where do you shop besides the farmer's market? I tend to shop at Sprouts. Aspirations. What are your aspirations in life? Maybe just even if it's something outside the farmer's market or your business. Television. What do you watch? Well, first of all, do you watch cable or do you stream or both? I stream. What are you watching on television? What kinds of shows are you watching? I tend to watch a lot of TLC kind of shows, and I tend to watch a lot of, I watch like The Handmaid's Tale, you know, um, shows with strong female leads. What's your weekday schedule like? Are you working? Are you volunteering? What's your weekday schedule like? Are you cooking and preparing your product during the week? What's your weekend schedule like? And what's the main problem or problems that you have that you're always looking to solve? Like for me, I'm always looking for help with my just kind of my personal things, like just taking care of personal errands. They just never, the list never seems to get completed, but those are important things that need to happen. So time and help. So moving on, let's talk about who the buyer is at the farmer's market and who is your ideal buyer. So an ideal buyer in general, especially one at the farmer's market, is going to have three qualities. They're going to have a need, they're going to be loyal, and they're going to be relational. Let's talk about this a little bit. So need, your product solves their ongoing problem. We just talked about this for your life, and I just shared with you one of my needs. Think about your customer and how does your product solve their ongoing product. There's a difference between want and need. We have a picture of bread there. Bread is a need. Bread is just sort of naturally need. You know, even if you don't finish the loaf within a week, it gets hard. So you need a new loaf. But for a lot of your products out there, let's say it's dressing or salsa or hummus, or even like a bath or beauty product, the need isn't as apparent, and it's going to be up to you as the vendor to let the consumer know what the need is. Keep this in mind because you are the one that's going to drive that need if it's not so readily obvious, okay? Second thing is loyal. Farmers market shoppers that are loyal, the ones that come time and time again, what the studies are showing is that they're female, they're Caucasian, they're somewhere between 30 and 64, they're college educated, and they have an income of at least $75,000. What we're seeing is really like the midpoint is right around $125,000. So think about your shoppers that you're seeing at your booth, and if any of them are falling in this demographic, and how you might relate to that demographic. Don't do anything with that right now, just get your wheels turning. Also think about, and this one I want you to write down, the 80-20 rule. So the 80-20 rule says that 20% of your customers create 80% of your income. Who is that customer? I want you to start thinking about that customer. The second thing I want you to start thinking about is the product. What is that one product that people come for time and time again? Even if you're that bread vendor and you're selling, 20 different kinds of breads, what's that one product? What's that one type of loaf that they come for time and time again? The third thing we want to talk about is relational. The ideal buyer for you is going to be someone that's relational. This is someone who stops to chat. They learn your name. You learn their name. They stop and they ask questions. They take a sample. These are your ideal customers. Don't get discouraged by the people who don't stop. That's not your ideal buyer. It's the ideal buyer. You know you have an ideal buyer when they stop, they talk with you, and they're not just looking for a great price on something, but they're interested in your product and how you made it, and with what type of flour, and is this your own recipe? Like, they're going to ask questions, and when that person comes in your booth, you know you have an ideal buyer, and I want you to pay attention to that person. Kim Garst, who is a social media expert, a speaker, and a radio host, says identify your target audience and communicate an authentic message that they want and need. And we're going to learn how to do that right now. And that starts with the buyer persona. Now, a few slides ago, what we basically did was we created a buyer persona on you. But now, we did that for a few reasons. One, because we just want to get you thinking about how the reality of people, what people are really like, what your buyers are really like, what their life is what's actually happening in their life. The second reason we do this is because I suspect that you will have a lot in common with your ideal buyer. Now, 2 slides ago, we talked about the ideal farmer's market buyer. And we talked about several things: that they have a need, they are loyal to the farmer's market, they are relational. I want you to think about that person and recall someone who fits that category, who fits all those check marks. Can you think of someone who's come into your booth time and time again, who's chatted it up with you, who really needs your product, asks questions, and is basically at the farmer's market pretty much week after week, time and time again? Think of somebody, and this is going to be your buyer persona, or we're going to call this person your buyer muse, okay? This person is your muse. We're going to think of this one person as we create our marketing materials. Now, that doesn't mean that we're forgetting about everybody else and that we're not marketing to people that are not this person, okay? But we are going to capture at least this person. And as we capture that person, we'll also capture the other people. But we know that this is your ideal buyer. This is the 20% of customers that are going to create the 80% of revenue. So in your business plan, write down that ideal buyer. And let's go through this exercise and let's create a persona for your buyer muse. So, how old is your buyer? Is it a man or a woman? What do you think that his or her income range is? Take a guess at it. Take a stab. How would you describe his or her personality? Are they friendly, outgoing? Are they inquisitive? Are they smart? What is it? Just jot down a few things that strikes you about your muse. What kind of car do they drive? You probably don't know, but take a stab at it. What car do you think they want to drive? What would be their aspirational car? What's their lifestyle like? Are they a stay-at-home mom? Are they working full-time? Do they work part-time? Are they a visitor in town? What's their lifestyle like in general? What kind of clothing do they wear? Can you guess the brands? What would you just guess that this person's favorite color is? Take a stab at it. Obviously you don't know, but just take a guess. Where do you suppose that your buyer muse buys his or her groceries outside of the farmer's market? If you're talking to him or her, they might even have mentioned it. What is her aspirations? Has she shared that with you? What do you think they might be? What kind of TV do you think that she watches? Does she watch maybe the Food Network a lot? Take a guess. If you don't know, take a guess. What's her weekday schedule like? What's her weekend schedule like? What does she do in her free time? Finally, what is her problem? What is the problem that she has that well, as we get into the next slide, that we're hopefully going to solve? So moving into your product and considering our buyer that we were just discussing, what is the problem that your product solves for her? I want you to grab your business plan and jot down a few ideas. How does your product solve the problems in her life? So let's say you are you sell dressing, some kind of dressing. Maybe you're making her life easier because it's easier for her to cook. You've given her some recipes, and so now she has fresh new ideas to feed her family. Maybe it's low in sodium, and so rather than the high sodium ones or the ones with artificial ingredients at the store, now she has something that's, does not have artificial ingredients. It's natural. And secondly, when she doesn't have your product, what's the cost of not having it? Going back to our dressing recipe, the cost would be, well, she's forced to buy the stuff that they have at the grocery store, and that stuff is made by some big manufacturer that doesn't care about her health needs and doesn't care about her family and doesn't want the same old recipes over and over, and doesn't taste all that great anyway. And what the heck is in that stuff anyway? The cost of her not having it is her life isn't as good. But when she has your product, what happens? What happens when she has your product? People need your product because it solves a problem in their life. Sometimes as a business owner, we want to get out there and sell our product. But the problem is we don't tell people why they should buy. So how do you improve somebody's life when they have it? Notice the shift here. We're not talking about, we're taking your features like, for example, natural or homemade or fresh. We're taking your features and we're relating it to how do we improve someone's life? And next we're going to talk about market differentiation. So how are you making yourself stand out both at the market and at the store? So starting with the store, how and I want you to get out your business plan again and jot down, how does your product stand out versus competitors at the store? So again, if you're that dressing, is yours locally made? Are you supporting the local economy? Is it vegan? Is it dairy-free? Is it gluten-free? How does it stand out? Secondly, how does it stand out at the farmer's market? If you're the only dressing, well then you're off to a good start. But a lot of times we see more than one. Hummus is a popular one. You'll see several hummus vendors at a farmer's market. So how does yours stand out? How is it different? Are you the only hummus person with chocolate hummus? Or are you the only one with low sodium options? Or are you the only one that's also selling gluten-free chips? I don't know. How you tell me, how do you stand out at the farmer's market? And while we're here, we're going to do what's called a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So starting with your strengths. Now this is as it relates to you as a business owner as well as your product. So what are your strengths? Starting with you. Are you good at sales? Are you talkative? Are you comfortable with people? What about your product? What's strong about it? Do people just tell you time and time again how great it tastes? What about weaknesses? What are your weaknesses? Are you maybe just not as good with the books? Or is it hard for you to go to too many markets in 1 week? What are your weaknesses as a business owner? And your product. What are your weaknesses as a product? Is it maybe not the best tasting one in the market? Is it perhaps a more expensive one in the market? What are your weaknesses? as far as yourself as a business owner and your product? What are the opportunities? So when it comes to opportunities, let's say you're that hummus person, is the opportunity to grow right now because hummus is so popular? Is it an opportunity to move into other markets that don't offer hummus? Is it, an opportunity to move online and sell your stuff online? What are some opportunities for your business? And what about, and for you? And then what are some threats out there? Again, if you're that hummus person, maybe a threat is that there's another hummus vendor at the market. Maybe it's that there's cheaper hummus at the grocery store. What are the threats? List those and be aware of them. And maybe start to think about how you're going to combat the threats and leverage the opportunities as well as the strengths and weaknesses. Moving into product mix. So a well thought out product mix helps you build the foundation for a sustainable business that goes beyond the farmer's market. And this is an area where we see people, vendors, time and time again, not maximizing their booth with a good, healthy product mix. So in 2006, I bought a flower shop and I sold it a year later for almost double the price. We were a flower shop franchise that was basically just not even on the radar. We went from not on the radar to #1 shop in a chain of about under 300 stores. And how did we do that? We did that because the books were awesome. Now, why were the books awesome? Well, upsells and add-ons. So here's exactly how it worked. The sign outside the store advertises $9.99 roses. The customer walks through the door and goes to the back of the store to the cooler where I will meet him or her, and I'll say, hi, how can we help you? I'm here for the $9.99 roses. Great. And then that's when I walk them through the different product offerings. We have our $9.99 spray roses right here. We have our $19.99 medium length dozen roses. And we have a long stem for $30. Can I ask what the occasion is? Oh, it's an anniversary. Okay. And then, you basically walk them through the different options. They pick their roses or their vase of roses. And then I say, do you want to, it's an anniversary. We have cards right here. Here's our anniversary cards. Do you want me to throw a bow on this? Do you want to add like a gift on it? Maybe a teddy bear or happy anniversary balloon or, something like chocolates. We have all kinds of things. So, we had several upsells. And, I know that as business owners, especially farmers market people, I love farmers market vendors because farmers market vendors are some of the most honest people in the world, and they really just have a passion for what they do. And I know that it could feel like you're not in it for the money, and I get that. But this part here, it ends up being about the money in the end, okay? But what you're really doing is you're providing customer service. The guy came in, he just wants to have flowers, right? He wants to come home and bring his wife flowers. But in the end, what he walks out with, instead of just like a dozen roses, he walks out with a gift, okay? And that's really what his wife wants, right? She wants a gift, not just, a bunch of roses, And so the guy walks out, he's a hero, and the wife is thrilled. And I want you to look at it that way. How does your product make his or her life better? Okay, so we're not just this is not about just sales here. This is about improving people's lives. So, when I was talking about the books, we sold the business because of the books. Well, so what this looks like on the books is when I was not in the store doing these sales, our average daily sale would be something around $14, which, by the way, you cannot sustain a business at an average daily sale of $14. You just can't. But when I was in the store and I was the one doing the sales in the way that I just described to you, the average daily sale would be something around $70. So huge difference. And that's how you make money. Now, what a lot of vendors will do in order to solve this problem is that they will just sell more. That's a thought. Oh, buy one hummus for $10 and buy three for $25. That's not the way you want to go. You're missing the boat if you're doing that. What you have to do is create a solution for their life. So let's say you're selling sauce, okay? Entry level would be, and this is just, I'm just throwing this out, okay? This is just an example so you can understand what you need to do here. Entry level might be one jar, buy a jar for $9.99. Level 2 might be a jar and organic angel hair that you can't find at the store, or maybe it's your organic homemade angel hair. Okay, level 3 would be maybe like the jar, the angel hair, the exact recipe you use to make vegetable angelini. I'm making this up. Okay, there's no such thing as vegetable angelini. And angelini primavera, that's a thing. Okay, and $5 towards veggies. At one of the market. The farmers, that are selling vegetables, and collaborate with him to do that. And that's $30 or whatever it is, okay? And then add-ons could be your entire recipe book. It could be a particular olive oil that you swear by. It could be the particular brand of sea salt that you use. It could be, you could add on a jar for lesser prices, the a la carte jar, okay? Okay, and a few more things about this. Let's talk about the sales cycle as a whole. As you can see from the slide, it starts with the sample, then it goes to the product, which are your 3 product levels. Then there are add-ons, then there's the takeaway, and what we call the Keep in Touch program. So with the sample, and we're just going to briefly go over all of these things right now. We went over the entry level, mid-level, top level, and add-ons, but let's talk about the sample very briefly here. So when it comes to the sample, you got to be consistent. Now, if your farmer's market allows it, I want you to get in the aisle. And I don't mean don't be obnoxious. Obviously, I wouldn't encourage you to be obnoxious, but get in front of your booth, be excited about your booth, and offer samples. I get so discouraged when I see vendors sitting there in their chairs, and then they're disappointed that they're not getting sales. Well, you're not getting sales because you don't look enthusiastic about your product when you're sitting there half asleep, and you have to interact with people. That's why they've come out to the market. It's not just to buy vegetables. The farmers market is naturally an interactive event. So don't be shy. Get out there and ask every single person. Be consistent. Ask every single person if they want a sample. If your farmer's market doesn't allow you to be in the aisle, that's okay. Be behind your table, no problem. But again, still be consistent. Ask everyone for a sample, and don't worry about all the people that will reject you. That's fine. That's not your customer. But again, marketing is a numbers game, so you've got to ask everyone. Don't fear rejection. Just be yourself, be genuine, and think about how you're about to make somebody's life better because of the product that you're so passionate about. And also remember, they did come to the market looking for something organic and local. And so, that's what you're all about, right? That you're there to provide something for them. So we talked about the next part of the sales cycle, the different product levels, the add-ons. By the way, we have a big list of ideas for add-ons as a download. Download that and see if it inspires some ideas for your own booth. And then takeaways. real brief on takeaway. So the takeaway is something that keeps the relationship going beyond the sale. So this could be usually something that you're going to put in their bag, their shopping bag. It could be a return customer discount, like a little flyer or coupon that encourages them to come back and 10% off your next order, something like that. It could be a refer a friend and get a free gift. It could be a buy one get one 50% off your next order. It could be 10% off pre-orders if you go online or if they email you. It could be 10% off, catering, or a free sheet of cookies with any catering order over, more than whatever, $100, whatever you deem. You could be giving a discount for people who return with recycled containers with your container, if that is legal, if you can do that in your area. But that will definitely encourage people to come back to you specifically. It'll save you money, of course, and it really drives loyalty. So those are just a few ideas for takeaways. And then the Keep in Touch program. Now we're going to be talking about this more, as you learn about marketing, but as you do a deep dive into our marketing modules. But the Keep in Touch program is basically what we're going to call the email opt-in. And this is where you're basically going to ask them to allow you to keep in touch with them. So you're soliciting their email. It's an email sign up. And so maybe you're offering a free gift or $5 off your next order with an email sign up. Maybe you've got like an oversized sample that you give, or a little sample bag, or a little goodie bag that you give with an email sign up. Whatever you feel that you can give, but I tell you, it will be worth your while to find something that people really find intriguing, people really want in exchange for opting into your email list. And so and if you're trying to brainstorm what that item is, two things. One, think about what is enticing to you, because it's very likely that you're very similar, or you are even your own ideal buyer. The other thing is to think about that buyer muse, that buyer persona that we discussed earlier. Reference back to that person and think about your muse and what would he or she like, what would intrigue her. So what would be something that you could give that would be so irresistible that he or she had to have it. Maybe it's a PDF that is an abridged recipe book of your top 5 recipes. So brainstorm this, write it down in your business plan. Well, you know what? We are here, you guys. You look good, and I know you look good because education is the passport to the future, and tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. And that is exactly what we have been doing here today. And on behalf of Nancy and I, we just want to say congratulations. You've just completed Module 2. Okay, so I do have a small piece of homework for you, which is just to share your Road to Success plan with a respected business person. Fill it out, continue to fill it out, anything that you might have missed at this point, finish it up and share it with someone you respect. Now, it's important that you share it with someone who is a successful business owner that you respect. Don't share it with your mama. Don't share it with your cousin. Get the opinion of someone who knows what it's like to be in business, even if it's not a small business, even if it's a business that has nothing to do with your business. But share it with somebody that is successful in business that you respect, and see what you can learn from them. I trust that they will. I think it's highly likely that they're going to give you some great feedback, and I would encourage you to remain humble. Don't get too stuck in your ways. This is a great time to be open-minded to ideas, but back to the point of be open-minded to ideas from people who have succeeded in this area of their life. I will tell you that I've worked with a lot of CEOs, VPs, and C-levels throughout the years, and the most successful ones that I know have been humble. And I think that, that's because that helps them remain open to ideas, and ideas are really where it's at right now. We live in the information age. Great, so we are at the end of the road here, and it's just the beginning of our road to success, and I congratulate you for finishing Module 1. Up next is Module 2, which is Make More Money Before the Market, and in this module, which I will teach as well, you'll learn everything you need to know so that you can make more money before the market. See you there.